Hello guys, my name is Fox and welcome to part 128 of our Space Rangers HD, a Warpath playthrough. Let's continue. So we're currently still on the quest, on the text quest for the pirate sink, pirate base, so yeah, let's go and continue. We're currently on the intersection and I now have to choose where should I go. So, go right towards the guard post. The message says that it's gonna be pretty damn dangerous, so go left to the movable corridors. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the corridors, I guess. He traveled a couple hundred meters in peace and quiet, then came across another departure, in which several supply columns, including transporters, were moving. You decided to take advantage of this because you need to cross several hundred meters to reach the other side in order to turn into the next side tunnel. So what have you to choose? Try to force your way into the middle of the column, fall in behind on one of the columns. I guess we're gonna fall in behind. We waited for a break in the columns and then boisterously fell in behind of them. Your transport drifted little from the others because you calmly rode behind the rest of the transporters, unnoticed by anyone. Once the corridor you were hoping to reach was just a few tens of meters away, the entire column suddenly came to a halt. There seemed to be a small traffic jam. Tolkien filled the air, then realized with horror that the station where the column had stopped had begun a roll call. That's unfortunate. You need to take some action before your presence is detected. Ram into the gravy car in front of you. Let's go and try it. Rightfully deciding that a bit of panic in this chaos wouldn't bother anything, you pressed the gas pedal and naturally smacked into the gravy car part in front of you. And you lost some structure on the transporter. Your assessment was correct. Being struck from behind, the driver instinctively hit the gas and consequently hit transporter rolled forward and smashed into the transporter in front of him, which due to inertia crashed into the one in front of it, and so on down the line. Thus, the entire column lurched forward a bit, freeing the entry to your precious tunnel. You plunged into without giving the members of the column time to think about what had happened and who was to blame. Traveling several meters down the narrow tunnel, you entered an average-sized hole, which was obviously designed for storing some sort of hazardous waste. You determined this by the fact that the entire hole was crammed with large barrels with warning labels, and the disgusting odor that pushed its way through even the air filter of your sink. Gates could be seen on the far side of the hall. Go to the gates, I guess. Not really much choice. The gates were closed and showed no response to the approach of your transporter. This is most likely because they are frequently blocked by barrels. You already wanted to ram them, but you were troubled by the odor, which stubbornly confirmed that something flammable was in the barrels and it could go up in a big bang. Open one of the barrels and try to ignite its contents. Let's try to do this. Suffering from the unbearable stench in the air, you began to pick at the cover of the drain hole on one of the other barrels. In the end, after painfully pinching your finger and spilling some of the flammable liquid onto your pants, you succeeded in your task. The name of where the fuel was beginning to flow, ignited it and with all your might dashed to the transporter. You had hardly climbed inside when a deafening explosion sounded. Burning debris flew in every direction and several more barrels detonated another part of the hull. When everything around stopped exploding, you opened your eyes and noticed that the gates were now clear. Oh damn. What's more, several of exploding barrels had opened a dark passage that you had not previously noticed, leading somewhere in the same direction as the gates. And we lost some HP, by the way. Enter the hangar. You entered the hangar, passing through the open gates, and immediately the transporter was assailed by shots from blazers. Not especially dangerous, but unpleasant just the same. You took in the situation and realized that they were shooting at you from two large barricades, built from bricks of some sort of building material. Near the barricade on the right, you notice several of the barrels that love to explode, which you have become acquainted with. You need to decide what to do now before one of the shots hits some vulnerable spot on your sink. You are nearly certain that such vulnerabilities exist. So, evade while waiting for the best moment to attack. Yeah. We lost some more transport structure. At some point you became outraged and the injustice of the fact that there were any enemies attacking you. But there was only one you. You even wanted to climb out of the transport and scream at them that they weren't fighting fair and that they should come face you on one at a time. That's true. I would really prefer a one-to-one fight. But then it occurred to you that then you would have to climb out of your sink, and that was the last thing you wanted to do. And nobody would be likely to hear you in the heat of battle. Instead, your remnants would be thrilled that you personally showed yourself in the blaster's sights. So, you lost some more transporter structure, and we could only evade while fighting some more. And some more. Sparks and explosions entirely surround you, warning messages blink on the transporter displays. The flashes of gunfire are thrown about the hangar. Honest to goodness war, it leaves you breathless. The important thing now is to stay sharp and not waste munitions. But I have no other choice. Evade while waiting, evade while waiting. The velocity shards are striking the hits of transport, leaving some marks. Evade while waiting. What the fuck was that? I had no real other choice. Okay, at least it moved me not to the tower defense thing. Okay, I'm gonna just use all the choices I've done without really commenting much, because it's the same thing, and I guess you already saw if you watched the previous episode. So, look for another path, go to the gates, go to the transporter, go to the warehouse, find something, get some grenades, go away, approach a glass booth, use a smoke grenade, leave the closet, go to the transporter, use the key, distillation room, then should I go to the sourcing room? Because after this thing I guess we didn't really have much choice. Let's try to drive into depot 13 this time. Passing the white airlock gates, you find yourself in depot 13, an enormous warehouse, the far side of which was barely visible somewhere in the distance. Perhaps something among the equipment here could be adapted to your transporter. I really hope it could. Find something to take in the depot. Yeah. You're inside depot 13, you're surrounded on all sides by enormous racks crammed with everything you could want and a little bit of junk. Perhaps something here could even be adapted to your transporter. The important thing is to remember that its payload capacity is only 120 buck. Anytime more and it physically will not fly. Okay. Shelves with the equipment, shelves with the weapons. Look for a handgun. Let's look for the weaponry, I guess. So, install the heavy machine gun, close range laser gun, grenade launcher. I guess... yeah, now I guess that's what we missed last time. We need to get some weaponry if we wanted to fight in this fight. So, let's go install grenade launcher, I guess. Only 4 grenades, that's lame. Let's find something else. Equipment. Install the light, military ranger, field suppressor, turbocharger, navigator. Let's go and try to install the turbocharger, navigator, armor set. Let's go and look what is the handgun. We decided to look for ourselves, and we found some fragmentation grenades. That's great. So, still have 100 bucks, and wait a sec. I guess we could use some more weaponry. 4 grenades, it's not really that great. So let's go and install the heavy machine gun as well. Machine gun with 100 cartridges. That should be better. Take the box of machine gun rounds. 5 bucks. Yeah, let's go and get some more. 500 cartridges. That's definitely better. And let's install some equipment. Armor set I guess could be useful, so let's go and install armor. 45 more, so install the turbocharger, navigator, or remove the armor set. let's go get a turbocharger and navigator, and we still have 15. So let's go back to the weaponry, and we still have 15, so we could even install the laser gun. But that's perfect. So now we have full set of weaponry, some defenses, and some other great stuff like navigator and turbocharger. Okay, I'm not gonna be doing anything more. We have no available space, so stop collecting junk and drive to the intersection, and let's get to the sorting room. So, drive into the sorting room, yeah. Wave hands not gonna be helpful. Let's go and try to jump. It's actually worked out pretty fine. Oh, and actually probably having a turbocharger actually helped us. Actually, let's go and read it. You decided to try to rapidly accelerate and jump to the platform. The jump was a complete success. Not only did you cross the lower platform, you flew all the way to the booth with the palanque, easily crushing it with the front. Okay. But why the hell we don't need to shot him anymore? I guess. Peeking out, you observed that the hatchback fan had flown headlong in the screen, instantly finishing him off. Okay, that's reasonable. So, not gonna go to the guard pass, let's go to the movable corridors. And falling behind, and just ram. Go to the gates, shoot the barrels, open the barrels and try to ignite its contents. By igniting it, we're just gonna lose some HP, so I'm fine with that. Follow the navigator's readings. Let's go and use the navigator, I guess. You check the navigator, which confirms that the dark tunnel was an alternative way to get into the same hangar to which the gates led. If you could pass through this tunnel, your appearance would be a surprise to the potential enemies waiting for you in the hangar. Nice, so having a navigator is pretty useful thing. Enter the hangar while shooting randomly from the machine gun. After first firing the grenade launcher, enter the hangar through the bypass tunnel. So, if you could pass through this tunnel, let's go to through this tunnel, I guess. You enter the hangar in a place entirely unexpected by the soldiers. You understood this when you observed them 20 meters off, standing with their backs to you and staring intently in the direction of the gates. They were hiding behind two barricades made of bags. Even more glaring to your heart was the sight of the portable heavy weapon these guys left in the rear. Clearly not planning to use it against you. Unfortunately for them, they decided to use it, and after two bursts, one for each one barricade, the ambush was over. Like they say, they didn't even know what's hit them. Leaving the hangar through the gates, that's better. That's better. I like when I could attack and not just trying to avoid shots and die. Leaving the hangar through the gates opposite those through which you entered, you laid on the gas pedal and carried on quick as the wind. Less than 10 minutes later, you saw an orange and red barrier, signaling the fact that repairs are underway up ahead. You looked closely and saw that the path had been dismantled in places. In some places the beams and covering remained intact, but where they were missing, dark chasms which ought not to be fallen into gaped wide. The upper portion of the tunnel was also dismantled, but the covering were narrower there. So, pick the widest beam and drive along it. Pick the widest beam and drive along it, squeezing all the power you can from the gravy car. Let's try to use first thing. You moved forward, trying to stand away from the potholes in the road, so some absurd accident didn't stop your important and high-ranking mission. Once the engine suddenly failed, you just shook your hand, amazed at your own prophetic insight. If this could happen with an ordinary pothole, who knows what else might happen. Meanwhile, the transporter conked out completely. Even the cabin light died, which you took to be a bad sign. Fortunately, the start button worked properly and the revived engine again began to rumble cheerfully. You started to wonder what all that was, but there was no time to sit and think. So I started off again, eyeing the instrument panel suspiciously. I have a feeling that it's some kind of magnetic weaponry, because we had an ability to use the magnetic defense, so it might be. Look around, leave the transporter, try to keep moving. Let's try to look around. You generally stuck your head out of the transporter and look about. Didn't detect anything suspicious, but you could hide a whole platen between the beams and the ceiling, so you need to stay on guard. Try again. It's not working. Okay, let's try to keep moving. You had barely traveled a couple meters when the engine against... Look around. Try to keep moving. Try to keep moving. Try to keep moving. It's not working. Okay. I guess we have to leave the transporter. You climbed out of the transporter to do some reconnaissance, but you didn't have to language in obscurity for very long. You hadn't even covered 10 meters when blaster shots began flying at you from somewhere above. One of the rounds barely brushed your hand, but it still hurt a lot. You throw yourself behind a segment of plating that was jutting out vertically, which was an incredible stroke of luck for you, and it saved you from the next round, which proved to be better aimed. Fortunately, the plating was too thick for the blaster's charge to penetrate. You cautiously peeked out from behind your cover and immediately pulled back, but you managed to see what's that's up ahead. A glass enclosure was lashed to the beams, and the barrel of a blaster was protruding from it. You didn't get a good look at who was holding it. In theory, you could shoot in the direction of the enclosure without aiming. Maybe you'll hit something, or it may be better to first find a more convenient shooting position. Your choice. Aim and fire shots at the enemy, fire in bursts at the enemy, advance on the enemy. Let's try to shoot. We have some grenade launchers. Let's try. Oh, I'm shooting with the blaster, not with the transporter. Okay. You better head out from behind cover and began showering the enclosure under the ceiling with an aimed burst, holding back nothing. It's not clear if you landed any shots, but yeah, it was extremely painful. So we lost some more HP. Let's try to advance. Lost some more HP, but yeah, get as close as possible to the enemy, fire in bursts. Let's try to aim and fire. You carefully took aim and squeezed the trigger of your blaster, paying no attention to the shots fired in return, one of which pierced your hand. Fortunately, at the moment you had already shot and hit your mark, judging by the loud cursing emanation from the enclosure under the ceiling. Let's try shooting without aiming. We have quite a few rounds, so why not? Let's try to get as close as possible. I don't know how much we should shot. Aim there and first shoots at the power unit behind the enemy. So, you darted up from your cover and sped towards the enclosure, dodging and evading the shots, a couple of which nearly put some extra holes in you. We already have only 59 HP, while a couple other grazed at you. Finally, feeling that you were just a moment away from being shot down, you leaped into a narrow gap between two beams. Your gamble was justified. Now you could see the scoundrel who was firing at you from the enclosure of the ceiling. Some dude in working clothes with a blaster in his hand. What upset you most was his personal force field generator. Determined this by the slight warping of the air around him. You son of a bitch. You are clearly not on equal ground, but you've got to do something. You can hide between the beams for the rest of your life. Let's try to shoot the power unit. You sent off your final shot at the target with precision and took no small satisfaction in seeing that your vanished foe, together with his blaster, had tumbled out of the booth and fallen cleanly below into one of the gaps between the beams. And if he had still been alive, the fall would probably have finished him off. Returning to the transporter, yeah, continue the path. Damn, this quest is long. Past several lateral tunnels, which your transporter simply wouldn't fit in, and almost ran into a guard post where you noticed a couple of large caliber cannons. It wouldn't help to poke your head in there, so quickly turned into a unconspicuous offshoot from the main tunnel and found yourself at the entrance to a car wash. But this was not an ordinary wash, but rather a full-fledged cleaning workshop. capable of stripping both dirt and paint from fields of vehicles. Moving back a bit, you studied the situation but couldn't find an alternative path. The only thing for you to do is put the transporter on the moving conveyor belt and go through the wash, but after being cleaned, your sink will glow like a polished skeleton. Didn't like this analogy, but that's too bad. You have to keep moving forward. You examined the warning signs at the entrance and discovered that the cleaning process uses harmful chemicals that can cause suffocation and death, and therefore drivers must exit their vehicles and go into the pedestrian tunnel built off the side. Unfortunately, its entrance was blocked by a metal plate, which would likely not even be appropriately affected by the weapons on the transporter, so you have to ride in the transporter. Oh well, you're no stranger to risking your life, after all, you're a ranger. Okay, so we already got to the point where we need to have a cut, so I hope we're gonna finish this quest in the next episode. I don't know how long would it be, but it would be something, so yeah. If you enjoyed watching this, you could leave a like, if you want to see more, subscribe, and if you want to leave a comment, you should definitely do it, and I would answer as soon as I could. See you later guys, bye bye.